Solo Leveling by Chugong. Bonus Stories 7. Good morning, is what I'd like to say, but the shadow world has no day or night. Instead, I just quietly let out a big yawn when I wake up. Yawn! Without a doubt, sleeping in the land of eternal rest is the best. In fact, a lot of soldiers in the Shadow Army spent the bulk of their time in a deep sleep until our king summons them. I like to sleep as well, but unfortunately, I had to get up to take care of an important matter. The soldiers greeted me when they saw me stretching. "Hello, sir." "Hi. How are you doing, General Fong?" "Good, good." I tried not to show it, but these kinds of moments made me happy. I joined our king's ranks before most of the other soldiers, and thanks to my many achievements, I rose to the position of commanding all the mage soldiers. Ranks in the Shadow Army are decided by how much our king trusts an individual. That's why the ancient dragons greet me with respect, although I'm a mere high orc shaman. All hail our king. All hail the great Shadow Monarch. Indeed, I cheered for my king to express my gratitude toward him as usual, then dropped by the ant division feeling proud of myself. Unlike other shadow soldiers, ant soldiers didn't like to sleep and were always busy doing something. When they saw me in their area, they bowed to me. Ha ha! I half-heartedly accepted their greetings and quickly moved along. To be honest, I'm a little scared of the ant soldiers even though they're my comrades. They're the most diligent yet the most violent among all the shadow soldiers. Scraw! Scraw! I never understood what their roars meant, but it made me flinch every time. If not Marshal Baru, then I wonder who could possibly control these soldiers. Luckily, Marshal Baru soon came out to welcome me, as if he had read my mind. His shoulders started to shake as soon as we made eye contact. Hee 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 hee. Ha 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 ha. Hee ha 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 ha. Wah ha ha. We shared a laugh together. Judging from Baru's face, it seemed he was successful. I was excited, since I had been the one to request the thing he was hiding behind his back. He stopped in front of me and whipped it out. "What do you think?" I inadvertently sighed in admiration. Wow! Marshal Baru had been kind enough to accept my request for his excellent crafting services and made me a robe similar to the hooded jacket our master used to wear. The garment was finally done. Yeah! Ah! I took off the robe I was wearing and immediately tried it on. It was the best. There was no other way to describe it. My voice betrayed just how touched I was. "I don't know how I can ever repay you, Marshal Baru. Cage, how could I ignore your desire to emulate our king? That you like it is enough. I love it. So much so that I'm considering mandating every mage soldier wear a robe like it. Hee-haw-ha-ha-ha. Ha-ha-ha-ha." For a time, Baru couldn't stop laughing. Then he fixed his gaze on something on my person. "Wouldn't it be better to make a staff for that so you don't have to clutch it in your hand?" He indicated the sphere of avarice in my right hand. "Would you be able to make that for me, too, Marshal Baru?" I bashfully handed the sphere of avarice to him, but he raised an arm to stop me. "Magic instruments are beyond me. I would need the expertise of one of the bearded dwarves to help me handle this." "Oh, I see. So how about you ask them to make a staff? Although bearded dwarves are horrible in a battle, their crafting skills are exceptional." I rubbed my chin in thought, then nodded. "That is a good idea, Marshal Baru." Yeah! I gave Marshal Baru a deep bow of gratitude for the robe and left the area. I then headed to the area where my friends the dragons lived. I had befriended them during a competition to see who had the greatest firepower. When I explained the situation to my friends, they gladly agreed to help me. I got on the back of the smallest dragon for no reason other than to save my groin from the pain of straddling a larger dragon with my short legs. Soon, my friend flapped his wings and flew up. I pointed in the direction where the bearded dwarfs dwelled. Since the world of eternal rest was nearly infinite, and nearly 10 million soldiers called this their home, some places could be reached only with the help of my friends. Flap, flap. I peeked down and saw tons of soldiers below us. Over there. There's the Grand Marshal. Whip, whip. Stand straight, Titans. Grand Marshal Bellion was literally whipping the new recruits into shape with his sword that could stretch and be used as a whip. He was having to re-educate the Titans, who had held much power in their own world and were still acting rather uppity. Ah! Grand Marshal Bellion noticed me and waved, so I quickly bowed my head. After passing over the re-education area, I spotted Marshal Igris. He was so focused on his studies that he didn't even realize a dragon was flying overhead. We left the area as quietly as possible so as not to bother him. Roar! As soon as we passed the Marshal's domains, my friends spread their wings wide and sped up. What a great view! We passed by countless soldiers looking as small as ants below us. Sleeping soldiers, training soldiers, chattering soldiers, gambling soldiers, and arguing soldiers grabbing one another by the collar of various shapes and colors made up the world below. However, it hadn't always been like this. Since we were psychically connected to our king, we became more like him as his powers grew. In other words, we who had only known destruction had also learned what it meant to be human. Feeling human emotions had been a new experience, and it filled our empty hearts. Now, when his heart beats, ours do as well. I'm fond of our king, and I'm thankful to him for leading me to a world I could never have imagined. All hail our king. All hail the great shadow. Huh? In my distracted state, I didn't realize we'd already arrived in the land of the bearded dwarves. They had built a nice village with houses, a forge, and so on, since they liked to craft things. Once my dragon friend landed, I carefully dismounted. General Fong! General! The bearded dwarves nearby came forth and politely bowed to me. They were flustered at a general's visit. I kindly explained the situation to the polite dwarves. Their elder's face lit up as he responded, "Oh, please leave it to us. We have been itching to find a use for the sacred timber our Lord had bequeathed to us." Ah! They already had the materials. While I was treated to some warm tea in the elder's house, all the craftsmen assembled to craft my weapon. What do you think, General? I was thrilled and overcome with emotion as he confidently presented me with a super cool staff. Whoa! The sphere of avarice now sparkled sitting atop a staff. Nice! This looks fantastic. The elder dwarf smiled as I excitedly struck different poses with the staff in my hand. The word fantastic describes the robe you're wearing more than this staff, General Fong. Ha 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 ha! You have a good eye for fashion. I left the dwarves' dwelling place feeling pleased. They waved goodbye, and I gave them a thumbs up. If our king ever asks me about this cool staff, I'll make sure to mention the efforts of these dwarves. I went back the way I had come and arrived at the mage's quarters. I then summoned the mage soldiers to show them my new robe and weapon. You look awesome, General Fong. You're the best. I can't stop crying, General Fong. No wonder they were praising the items. It was every mage's dream to own a cool robe and staff. Ha 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 ha! While sharing this joyful moment with the mage soldiers, I gave my old but luxurious robe to the teary-eyed soldier who had clapped the most. Thank you, General. Ha 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 ha! As I patted him on the shoulder, I noticed a couple of unfamiliar faces. Who are you? The stone giant awkwardly explained. Grand Marshal Bellion sent us here. Ah, there were mages among the new soldiers. It seemed like a waste to be casting spells with those massive bodies. But who was I to talk? Anyway, there was one thing all the new mage soldiers who came under my command had to go through. Well then, the rest of you, back to your positions. You two sit down. The well-mannered new soldiers carefully knelt on their huge knees. Now, I shall regale you with all my accomplishments during the battle between our Lord and the horrible Dragon King in the gap between dimensions, so listen carefully. After I finished sharing the long and unforgettable history with the new soldiers, I sent the touched newbies away. My day was finally done. I was getting sleepy, so I yawned and lay down. Yawn. As much as I appreciate cool clothes, great weapons, and nice stories, I like sleep above all else. I especially like sleep at the end of a busy day like today. I pulled the blanket up to my chin, but as I gently drifted toward dreamland, someone shook me awake. The nerve! Who would dare wake up General Fong from his precious sleep? I angrily opened my eyes, ready to kill whoever it was. It was Marshal Igris. Oh, Marshal, I love you, and I appreciate your loyalty. So what brings you here? As I sat up, Marshal Igris pointed at the sky. It's about to start. Shouldn't we rank officers, as the soldiers closest to him, cheer him on? Oh! I kicked off the blanket and sprang to my feet as I looked up at the sky. Our king's vision was shared with us in the sky like a huge movie screen. Did our master finally meet Miss Hayne? That's right. Woohoo! As I let out a cheer at this auspicious moment, the whole shadow army followed by raising their arms and roaring out loud. Yea! When our king's heart beats, our hearts do as well. I also raised my arms and roared with the other soldiers. Yeah, my heart was beating as well.